This is Mehreen Hashmi with another artist talk of behind the art scene, and I'm very excited about this topic today. I have an artist who is working on art and activism. So, if you have been following my work and watching my channel, you would know that I work very hardcore on art and art activism, and it's for domestic abuse survivors. We are going to have a long discussion. We met during a project we were doing together with other fabulous artists, and then we connected so well, and then I saw her work and I thought I should invite her over, and and we talk about her work. So Eva Grochowska, I am so sorry if I am taking your name wrong, Eva. So she is a visual artist. She is working for domestic abuse survivor. She's herself is a domestic abuse and childhood survivor. Her work is based on that. She is working. She started in Freedom for Ewa in December 2013, and her work is based on ceramics. And then every 5% of her sale goes to domestic violence abuse survivors shelters. So how are you doing, Eva? How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for
Hello
having
there.
me. And you
Thank
did
you
great
for
with my name.
thank you. I'm trying. I will by the end of this podcast, I will understand, like learn it. So thank you so much for waking up so early, and considering the time difference, it's 8 a.m. here there. So where are you right now exactly?
Right now, I'm in Connecticut in America.
Yes, and we have like 6 p.m. right now. It's very early in the morning. And where are you originally from?
So I was actually born in Poland, and we moved to America with my family when I was 3 years old. So 33 years ago.
Wow. And then you are in US since then.
Yes. Yep. I would go
Okay.
back to visit my family in Poland, but we've been in America ever since we moved here.
So I want to mention first that you are sharing your story so bravely through your work, and you are a domestic abuse and childhood abuse survivor. Would you like to share some details of it, that what happened and what have you faced in your when you were a kid only, and then it does affect you in relationships also, because your patterns are made such constructed that you are stuck in that. It's very difficult to come out of the loop as well.
Mhm. Yes. So when I was a child, my father was abusive. Um, and I didn't know that that was called domestic violence. I just thought I had this father that was,
Mhm.
scary and abusive, and that's it. I thought it happened in everybody's house. And I was
Yeah.
very quiet. I was very quiet as a child, so I didn't tell anybody what was happening at home. Um, and fortunately for me, my mom left my dad when I was 9 years old. And then when I was about 18, 19, I ended up dating someone who ended up being abusive. And then after leaving that relationship, after it was like a year, I think I was with that person. And then I ended up in another abusive relationship that lasted for 3.5 years and ended in 2012. And I would say the first person, first of all, I didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like because I
Yeah.
didn't have exposure to that on top of growing up in an abusive house. Um, this person was very physically abusive. And I think that I did love this person, but I finally left after um, he said something very disturbing about doing something to me over the phone. And I hung up and I never spoke to this person again. But then I ended up in another relationship that way. And I want people to understand that it's not this relationship where somebody just comes up to you and hits you in the face, or and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I know this is wrong, I should walk away. it's a
It doesn't
it's a
happen this way.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a process where they slowly start to break you down and you don't even know that it's happening when
Mhm.
it is happening. And for me, I just wanted someone to love me, and I didn't understand anything about self-love either because I didn't love myself. I didn't know about that. I just started learning about self-love in my 30s and I'm 36. So um, I just wanted someone to love me. And I thought, oh, if I have a person that loves me, I'll be happy. But
Hmm.
that wasn't the case. So the last person that I was with, he abused me in every way you can think of, sexually, emotionally, physically, financially, psychologically. Um, I'll give one story where just to show like how powerful the control is. This was probably 2 years into the relationship, where in the middle, late at night in the winter, he locked me out of our apartment, and I was in my pajamas and socks, and he locked me out of the apartment. And it was a big complex, so there were people, everywhere down the hall. So I didn't know what to do. So I ran outside and hid in front of my parked car in the snow. And I was just sitting there and hoping that maybe he would come out and let me back in the house. And I was hiding in front of my car, and then two people walked by, and I thought that they saw me, but they didn't. And across the street was a police station. And in my head, I'm like, I can just go there. I just go there. I was like thinking it in my head.
Yeah.
But, but I didn't go there because all I could think is if I try to go there, he's going to see me and he's going to get me, because I would have to pass our windows to get to the police station. So I ran back up inside the house and I knocked on the door and he finally let me in. But this, like, a normal person, right, that is not being abused would say, okay, I know this is wrong. I'm just going to,
Yeah. Yeah.
go to a neighbor and get help, or go to the police and get help. But you're not it's this, I explain to people, I'm like, you're in a prison that no one can see the bars except you. And
Yeah.
that's how I will describe it. And that
Yeah.
last person, I didn't leave because I loved him. I was terrified to leave. Like, I was scared to leave. And I thought the only way that I was going to leave that relationship is he was going to kill me. And that's it. Like, there was no other way out. That's how I
Yeah.
felt.
And there are other elements as well that, if you are leaving, that they are going to chase you, they are going to track you down, and then they are going to kill you. There is their ego. It's a power game as well. So it's there are a lot of a lot of aspects to such situations, and people really need to understand that how it affects you physically, emotionally. You have lost your self-esteem. So how did you started channelizing in art? Then how did this happen? Because when I see your work, it's very feminine. It's not gory or morbid. It's very pleasing, and you see petals, and it's ceramics, and it's flowery. It's like
Mhm.
something is blossoming. It's like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I left this person in 2012, I moved back with my mom, and I had a little studio downstairs in my mom's house. And at that point, I didn't make art for 10 years. So it was a really long time that I didn't create anything. And I knew I was having a very hard time dealing with what happened to me.
Mm.
Not missing that person at all, but just,
Yeah.
like you said, terrified. Are they going to come after me? Watching my back every single day, thinking about that, and then thinking about everything that happened. Like, that doesn't just go away. So I decided to get back into my art, to do something healthy for myself, to process what was happening, and just to have a good moment in my life. So I started to create on my pottery wheel out of clay. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because it's been so long. But little by little, I started getting better on the wheel. And then I started to sculpt out of clay with my hands, which that's my favorite thing to do, is sculpting. And as I was downstairs in my little studio, I was just thinking about, what happened to me. And I'm like, I have to do something about this. I'm just going to be quiet, and, it's just going to keep going. The cycle's going to keep going. I'm like, I have to do something about this. So I decided that once I was making enough art that I'm going to start doing art festivals where I can share my work and also share pieces of my story with people through my art as a way to bring awareness to domestic violence and also as a way for people to feel comfortable to speak to me or share with me if they wanted to. Um, and then I decided that not only was I going to do that, but I was going to donate a portion of my proceeds to domestic violence shelters, which led to me working with kids in domestic violence shelters, volunteering, having an art group, and providing them with the art supplies. I was like, this epiphany happened where I was like, it is my mission in life to talk about the subject that people don't want to talk about. And where have we gone with staying silent? Nowhere. It just keeps happening. And for me, I feel like the more that people use their voice to speak up and to connect and to make change in the world, specifically when it comes to domestic violence, that we're taking power away from abusers because they thrive on us being silent. And I'm not saying that every survivor needs to share their story because no, some people aren't comfortable. Some people's lives are in more danger than other people's lives, depending on the abuser and where they are. But for the people that can speak up, which I feel like I'm someone that can, I choose to do that. And yeah, there are moments where I've gone to festivals and events and thought, oh my gosh, is this person going to be here? Are they going to do something? And I've had those moments, but for me, I'm fortunate that I have a partner that I've been with for 8 years and he goes with me to all my festivals. But for me, I'm like, this is bigger than him. Like I have to do this.
Yeah.
Because for me, like ever since surviving all of that and realizing what I need to do, like this is my life's purpose to speak up with my voice and through my art to bring awareness and to educate, especially younger kids, so they don't end up in unhealthy situations, like to be able to cut down on how many domestic violence cases there are. And realistically, anyone who has survived abuse, like we're all lucky to be alive because there are so many people that have lost their life to abuse that I just feel like if I was fortunate enough to survive that, like I can't just sit and be quiet and not do anything. Like I have to do something. And that's what I've been doing ever since 2013 when I started Freedom for Eva. And some people told me, "Oh, just leave it alone. The past is the past." But I was like, I can't. Like
You cannot. Yeah.
how can I pretend that whole chunk of my life did not happen? So I kept sticking with it and I'm so glad because if it wasn't for me believing in what I'm doing, I wouldn't be here talking to you. You and I wouldn't have met Lauren, who's doing a dissertation with Penn State
Yes.
for
Yes.
for artists, women are well, actually women and men artists that are bringing attention to violence against women. I wouldn't meet so many amazing people and people that felt comfortable sharing and yeah, I get emotional thinking about it because
Of
it's a
course.
big deal. Like I feel like what we're doing, where we are saving lives and we're showing
Yeah.
people like it's going to be okay. Like it's not easy, but you can work to get out.
Survive. Yeah.
Exactly. And
And
also,
yeah. Sorry.
go
Please
ahead.
go ahead. No, no. Please go ahead. You were
I was
saying
just going to
something.
say, and also, I want people to understand like, I think sometimes people hear the word like survivor and they think, oh, well, that person, is perfect now. They don't have issues from their trauma. It's like, no, survivors are people that have survived trauma. It doesn't mean that we don't have issues. It doesn't mean that we don't
Yeah.
have bad days. It doesn't mean that we don't suffer. We do. Like, this
We do
isn't
suffer a
easy.
lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, a
Yeah.
survivor is someone that is able to walk away with their life and you're always a work in progress. There's no perfect survivor that is
Yeah.
this perfect person.
And it's about, telling yourself also that you are worth it, you matter, and you exist, after whatever has happened to you, because somebody is doing the damage to you. So you are running programs with universities and children's, and can you tell us more about it, that what's the pattern of these programs?
Yes. So I had two kids programs where I was volunteering with two local domestic violence shelters. So I would use a portion of my proceeds for my sales to buy the art supplies so we could do the art projects with the kids. And this was a few years back. And I'll actually touch on why I stopped doing it, just to go back to how we still suffer after surviving.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to work with the kids because I felt like donating money is one thing, like that helps because shelters do need money to run,
Yes.
but I wanted to be more involved. Um, and also, I thought about it too. Like, I was these kids. I didn't live in a shelter, but I lived their life of having to see abuse. And for me, I thought about it as I was working with the kids. I was thinking, like, they have no control over what's happening in their life, being at a shelter, being separated from their parent, not understanding maybe 100% what's going on. That hour that we got to spend together, maybe sometimes 2 hours, that was their time where they were in control in their life, where they were able to create what they wanted to create. And I also worked to touch on certain topics when I worked with the kids. Like, I would say, okay, well, today let's talk about what is love to you? What does that mean? Because I thought that was so important, because even if you ask an adult what is love,
Yeah.
some people might not truly understand. For me,
Yeah.
a few years ago, before I met my partner that I'm with now, I thought jealousy is love. That's not
Yes.
love.
Yeah.
To be jealous is not love. That's unhealthy, because if you're in a healthy relationship, um, there is no reason to be jealous. So I asked the kids, and the kids' age was from like 1 to 11 years old. So some kids wrote, getting a present is love, hugs and kisses. And we talked about, like, love is kind, it's always good, it's always understanding. So that time to me was precious, because I hope that the kids that I worked with will remember that time that we spent together, for their whole life, because it was special. And then I stopped having the kids art groups, because I was having the kids art groups. I was volunteering in other committees and workshops. I was working a full-time job. I was making art. I was doing a lot of public speaking. Like, this is the second
Okay.
time I'm speaking in like over 4 or 5 years. And what happened was, I would start getting these physical, sorry, this light is a little
Yeah, I know.
bothering me
Please,
a little bit.
yeah.
That's a
Please.
little better. Okay. So I started to get all these physical symptoms, and I didn't really understand what was happening. And my partner's like, maybe you should slow down, because you're reliving all these horrible situations that happened to you. And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I think I just get nervous, but I'm fine. What ended up happening is I actually went to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack, and come to find out, I wasn't having a heart attack. I had anxiety and
Yeah.
PTSD, and
Yeah.
my body was feeling it. And I
Yeah.
heard
Yeah.
people say, like, throughout my life, I heard people say PTSD or anxiety, but I'm like, oh, anxiety is just like when you're nervous. No,
No, it's
anxiety is
not. It's not. Yeah. I
it's
actually was
horrible.
about to ask you about this, because this really affects you in ways that when you don't know. Because I suffer from PTSD and anxiety disorder and developmental trauma. And because, and it's not that you have just PTSD, it's not just the title, you have sleep paralysis and nightmares and all of that. So how do you cope with these struggles, and what kind of struggles do you have?
Yeah. So when all that happened, I actually stopped working with the kids at the shelter,
Okay.
because I knew, even though it was hard for me, I knew I had to take care of myself. So I cut down on volunteering with the kids. I cut down on public speaking. I just went to work. And honestly, at that moment, I felt like this is it. Like,
Mm.
good try for a couple of years, but this is it. Like, I can't do this anymore because this is what happened. And I was really angry for a long time. I still get angry because I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, so it's not bad enough what happened to me, but now I get this nice going away present
Yeah.
with everything that happened to my body and my mind. So that was really sad for me. But I think after a long time, I just focused on getting back to creating, because to create, I could just be in my safe space at home, listen to my music, not have to be around anybody. So that slowly started to help me get back on track. And work, my full-time job at that time kept me really busy and distracted. It wasn't that I was getting better. I was distracted by being busy at work. But I just focused on creating. And that's how I ended up doing that. Every piece that I create was 5% is donated to a shelter, because it was my way of thinking like, okay, I can't volunteer at this time, but I can still do something to
Yeah.
help. And I would still post on social media. But yeah, the mental health issues are, they're so hard to deal with.
It's
And
never ending.
yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's there's no full stop to it. Yeah.
It's a really, sorry, this light. Okay, that's better. It's a really hard thing to deal with. And that's actually when we were doing our talk with Lauren, that's one of the things that really connected me to you when you were talking about mental health, because I was like, that's such a hard thing to share with people. And you do think like, I'm insane.
Yeah, I'm
Nobody else.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
nobody else.
people. I was entitled to the girl with family issues or girl with problems or a person who has been through this, so this
Mhm.
becomes your identity as well. You have to
Yes.
break that identity as well, that no, I'm a person, I like things, I have a favorite color, I have favorite food, and I
Yeah.
can say no to people. Because what I have experienced, that a lot of other people as well, they think because you are damaged and you are abused and you didn't have good things in life, then you don't deserve it. So
Yep.
they can also abuse you in their own slightest way or in their own way, but take
Yep.
advantage of you in friends also. So these patterns keep on going. Instead of getting empathy, you get more and more and more abuse. So is it like the same in because Pakistan is a kind of course, I mean, I am an abuse survivor, you are an abuse survivor. We are connecting on same dot here. So do you have any social stigmas attached to it, or things like that? That how did you struggle socially?
Yeah. So for me, I felt very uncomfortable with what was happening to me.
Yeah,
So I had one friend in particular at work at the time that I was able to talk to, because I knew she was dealing with things because we talked about it in the past. So that was helpful. But I didn't think about it at that time that I was overloading her with my issues on top of her dealing with her issues.
yeah,
But she brought me comfort. She actually made me feel like, no, you're not crazy. Like, this is normal. Think about what happened to you. And actually, at my worst, when it started happening, the anxiety and everything, I found a therapist, and I said to her, I'm like, okay, I left my abuser in 2012. It is now 2016. Can you explain to me why from 2012 to 2016 I was okay mentally, and now all of a sudden I get hit with all this stuff when I'm in a healthy relationship, I'm in a safe space. Why is this happening to me? And she said that my body was in survival mode this whole time.
yeah,
And now I'm finally in a place where I feel safe. So my body is now starting to process what happened. But on top of me doing all that public speaking, she's like, you have to think about it. You're reliving everything
Those
that you're
feelings.
talking about. And I was talking about what happened to me in a lot of detail. Like I wasn't holding back.
Mm,
Um, so she said that also is doing a number on you. And I felt, I don't want to say, I didn't feel ashamed because I knew it wasn't my fault what happened to me.
yeah.
But even though a lot of society does blame victims, that it's their fault, um, having a counselor and having my partner and having a couple friends that I could talk to about it made me feel better. And then eventually I felt comfortable enough to share things about mental health online with my followers because I was like, if this is happening to me, I'm sure it's happening to other people, but it's just a very scary topic to talk about. But just like trauma and abuse are scary topics to talk about. But again, if we stay silent, then people feel alone and the cycle just keeps
Keep going on.
continuing. Yep.
And you know, it's a worldwide dilemma that you are. I'm so sorry, something went into my eye.
Oh, no problem.
And of course I was emotional as well in the middle of it. So the thing is that it's worldwide, like we are two different people from different corners of this world, and then still we have same connection points, because what you are saying here, I experience the same, the survival mode, the patterns, the triggers, messed up relationships, everything that I've experienced also. And interesting part is that I'm also exactly 36 years old. So the age is also same when I was a kid, and all of that details. And it's a very through Lawrence project, that I will be inviting Lawrence as well, that we see so many other women from so many different countries saying the same thing and experiencing the same tragedies of life, that domestic violence, sexual assaults, childhood abuse, and all of that. And we have this one connecting point, that we are showing it as an art. So in your artwork I see healing. It's not trauma, it's the other way around, it's healing. Is that true, that the flowers and very feminine? And let us know also that how can we see your artwork? Is there a website or your Instagram handle? I will be mentioning your Instagram handle also in the description, it's there. So whoever wants to follow you, please follow her, it's amazing work. And would you like to, if you can share more details of your artwork?
Yes. So thank you for saying that. My art, after I decided that I wanted to sculpt because I loved sculpting, and I sculpted what was my concept of a flower for the first time, I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, this is amazing. What is this? Like, I didn't even know what I was sculpting at that time yet. And I sculpted this flower on top of this glass vase just to use it as a base, just while I was sculpting. And then I decided, no, I'm gonna put the base as the vase, but I wanted to fill it with something. So I ended up filling the vases with scrap, like rusted metal, and then I would have my ceramic flowers at the top of the vase. So for me, that was the rusted metal was, and then I would, like, the torture and trauma that you go through as a survivor, and then the flower was you blooming out of the trauma. So you're absolutely right that it is a bloom, like that you're bloom, that something beautiful can come out after surviving something so ugly and so difficult. Um, and it's been since 2013 that I've been creating these flowers. A lot of my work has evolved into even like prettier pieces where it's more pieces that loved ones can buy for someone that they care about or love, where they can write messages inside the glass vessel for them as support. But for me, my artwork, it is beautiful, but also it is a little gritty. And that's because for me, I wouldn't be able to make the art that I make if what happened didn't happen, because I wouldn't have all of that all of that trauma in me, if I didn't live through what I lived through. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing that I lived through that. What my inspiration was living through that and putting it out into the world, that
Yeah.
I'm able to create something beautiful and something that people can connect with because of what I went through. And I don't want to say like, oh, everything happens for a reason. For me, it's we all go through something, no matter if it's abuse,
No.
if it's
Yeah.
rape, you lose someone to suicide, murder. There's no shortage of trauma, but to me, it's how you react after the fact. Because don't get me wrong, I have days that I create, I have days that I don't create because I don't want to say that I don't feel like it. I just am in a bad place mentally because, like we talked about, the mental health aspect of it. But for me, creating and being able to share my art, like, I'm glad that I'm alive, that I can actually do this. And it's my way of, even if I'm not doing public speaking, it's my way of still sharing my story and still speaking, because every piece that I create has a story behind it. And I always share that story with the piece. And throughout the years, how many people have connected with the pieces and projected their own stories and traumas to it. And like you said, different parts of the world, different age groups, even men have connected with my artwork,
Yeah.
which makes me feel good that even men
Yeah. Can
can
be of
connect
use.
with.
Yeah.
Yes, and even men have opened up about their traumas to me, which I think is uh, it's a huge compliment, because it's not easy for anyone to share their story, but especially for men, because they're told to, not talk about feelings, man up, blah blah blah, all this
Yeah. The
bullshit.
toxic masculinity. Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. um yeah, I hate that I went through what I went through. I'm very glad that I am where I am today. I'm glad to be here talking to you today, because I know that we're making a difference, and I know that we're impacting people, especially even young people. I hope whoever sees this finds inspiration, and we have to keep talking and putting the message out there, whether it's through music, speaking, writing, visual art, because a lot of people, especially kids, they don't even know what an unhealthy relationship is. I'll say
Yes.
a quick
Yeah.
story. When I went to speak at my high school where I graduated, I went to the health class, and the teacher had his students write anonymous letters to the speaker, or they could put down their name. So I received a lot of letters, and one letter, a lot of them touched me and made me cry. But this one letter I'll never forget. The girl wrote like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. What happened to you? It's horrible that you had to go through that. I have a boyfriend, and he's not bad like what you said about the guys you were with, because sometimes I wear this one sweatshirt and he tells me that I'm fat, or he doesn't like when I wear these shorts or something like that." And she's like, "He hit me, but it was only one time, so it's not a big deal." And then at the end of the letter, she wrote, "Because of what you said to us in class, I broke up with him this weekend." And I was like,
Wow.
right? So I'm like,
Yeah. You feel so
I
powerful in that moment. You
yes,
know.
I was like, this is the power of sharing, because I was like, if I didn't go to that class and
Yeah.
share what I shared, this girl could have been with this boy until something worse even happened, or she would have other relationships like this in her life. So when she wrote to me that she broke up with him, I was like, yes, because that meant to me that like what I said
Yeah.
got through to her on a deeper level. And she knew like it's one time is not okay. Cause I told the kids, I'm like, one time is not okay. No one
Yeah.
should be doing that to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking is very powerful, even if you don't feel like you're making an impact, even if you're not getting as many likes or all this other kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that people are watching, aren't seeing, aren't hearing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You
So you
just
are
have to
making a
always,
huge difference. Yeah. Even
yeah.
one voice matters if one
Oh
person
yeah.
speak. Yeah. And I see a lot of hope in your work. Thank you so much, Eva, for
Thank you.
joining us and talking about your work and doing so much for everyone. I feel like we are all connected, and it doesn't matter where are you from. It's just we are from human to human. It's that kind of a conversation. That's how we connect on humanity. So thank you for sharing about your work as well, and I wish you all the best with Freedom for Eva. And Freedom for Eva is also her handle for Instagram. You can click on the link in this description. You can find her on Instagram and follow her. We Pakistani can follow you. We can't buy your work in person because it's very far away, but we can definitely follow you. And stay strong, stay hopeful the way you are doing, and it's very beautiful. Thank you so much. Would you like to say something to our audience?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate this opportunity, and thank you for all that you do. Um, I just think it's so important that we
Yeah.
keep doing what we're doing, because, like you said, it takes one person, and one person can inspire a whole group of people to start a movement and to do something different.
Yeah.
Um, and I hope that as the years pass, that there are less cases of rape, less cases of abuse, and I think that is going to happen, but it's going to happen because of people like us who are taking a stand and inspiring other people to do so. This way,
It's
all
like
that be
chain. It makes a
yes,
chain. Yeah.
yes. So I really believe in what we're doing. I'm so grateful to be talking to you. I'm so grateful that Lauren connected us, that
Yes.
we're
Yes.
on two ends of the on this globe, and we're both doing something really important. And
Lauren, actually, I will share this comment here. Lauren said, "So wonderful. Congratulations, Eva." She's watching. Hi, Lauren. Outstanding discussion, Mary and Eva. So inspirational. You're in a prison that no one can see the bars but you. So powerful. Yes. Thank you, Lauren, for watching. And hopefully, I will have you also on my channel. I will be contacting Lauren. Thank you so much, Eva.
thank
And
you.
those who have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe to my channel. I'm bringing different artists from around the globe and who are working on different genres, mediums, and artists from Pakistan. And I will be posting more about my monthly vlog about my mental illnesses and my personal growth and how am I growing my PTSD and everything. So take care and much love. Bye.